Hi, everybody, and welcome back to TV for Real, where reality and scripted TV collide. My name is Mike Bloom. I am, of course, joined here by Sasha Joseph. Sasha, we took a week off for me to still recuperate from getting that info dump on Grey's Anatomy, but now I've recuperated and we're back.
We have saved your life, and we have resuscitated you. Maybe we gave you a heart transplant. You know, maybe a lung, hand. Who knows, right? Whatever they can come up with. But here we are. We're back, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, really excited to welcome this guest in. Of course, we have created a partnership not only between Sasha and myself, but between scripted and reality TV here on TV for Real. So it only makes sense that we bring in a guy who knows a thing or two about partnerships. One of the stars of the most recently aired season of The Amazing Race, the one, the only Danny Butler.
Oh, thank you so much. I think we're missing the true star, Angie. Angie is honestly the bright light of the season. But love Mom. Also, Sasha, love the clue in the background. Nice.
Yes, it's from my 30th birthday party.
Oh,
I was gonna say, yeah. As we know, Danny also likes to hold local Amazing Race gatherings. So,
yeah, if you ever need another racer to show up and run in a birthday party, let me know. So
immediately, obviously, changing my plans right now.
That's awesome. So yeah, I'm excited to talk some real TV. Reality TV.
Exactly. Well, let's go back to some humble beginnings, and maybe Angie gets involved in this, considering that I imagine, she was pretty seminal in the TV that you were consuming at a young age. Do you remember, like, the first show growing up that you became a big fan of in your childhood?
Okay, I'm like trying to pick not reality TV because Fetch with Ruff Ruffman was a PBS game show with 5 kids that was half scripted but half game show, and it was like this little cartoon dog that would give these 5 kid tasks and they would get points. But outside of Fetch with Ruff Ruffman, Cyber Chase I think was like one of like the OG shows on PBS, where it was like this hacker dude and it was math problems and very nerdy stuff. But I watched every week. It was Cyber Chase at 5 and Fetch with Ruff Ruffman at 5:30 on PBS.
Appointment television. Okay, because usually when I think of like PBS game shows, I'm thinking like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, all that stuff. So this was like, was there a man in a dog suit? Was it an animated
He was on TV, right?
Yeah, he was like on a little TV, and they went to his doghouse. So like the kids would come in through like the little door of the doghouse, and then they would separate the kids on like little missions. Like, 2 would go, and there'd be a winner of the week, and then at the end of the season, there'd be one kid that won it all.
Oh wow! So you were on The Amazing Race in your mind as a little kid.
I was training, like I get started there, and then I'm like, okay.
Right, because they like sent them out into the real world, right? To be like, hey, find out how static electricity works, and the cartoon dog will give you points. And that really is like a nice psychological experiment into what we do for gratification in 15 minutes of fame.
Yep. And these kids were probably like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but their parents, I always think it's funny, these kid shows where like parents are signing up their kids for doing lots of fun things.
I have so many feelings about that, but there's a new show coming out. Demi Lovato is I think producing it. I'm not creating it, but it's Keenan, JoJo Siwa. All these child stars are gonna be on to talk about what you just said. Like,
I thought you meant that she's rebooting Fetch with Ruff Ruffman. No. I didn't know where that was going.
No. Well, no, Fetch is still going on, right? It just aired its 15th season, I think.
15th season?
No,
I just looked it up.
Let me look at this.
Or no, Cyber Chase.
Cyber Chase. I was gonna say Fetch with Ruff Ruffman. That dog's got to be long dead by then. You know the life expectancy.
What do you mean? Blue was alive forever.
That's true. That's my big theory is re-experiencing Blue, because now we have the Blue's Clues reboot that I watched along with my son. I'm like,
yes.
I think that's a new Blue. I think they replaced the dog.
Wow.
How dare they?
But yeah, I like Cyber Chase was like right at the end of the cusp of my access to PBS. But I remember like, God, what a fantastic representation of what the early 2000s thought technology was, right? That they're going into cyberspace and this is the internet and it's this wild west out there where anything can happen.
Yeah. And I still remember, and this is just my brain, but I still remember there's a game called like Take One, Take Two, or Take Three, where there's like a bunch of items and you take three and you don't want to be the person who takes the last item. It's like a little game that you play with friends, but I remember it being on Cyber Chase and they explained the math behind it as a 10-year-old. And I was like, this is so cool. Games.
So have you always felt drawn toward these, because we were talking about PBS, I feel drawn toward these games and shows and, whatever you're consuming that felt almost like, oh, I need like this brain teaser almost.
I think so. I think also like growing up, like my parents were pretty like mindful of like what we watched on TV. So like any characters that gave attitude, it was like, can't watch that. So no Rugrats, no Arthur,
interesting.
No SpongeBob, like none of like what other people would say is like normal. And like we watched like other intentional shows. Like I Love Lucy, I guess, is one of the shows that I remember growing up watching. That was
that's interesting because you're like, oh, we can't watch shows where like Tude gets given back, but Lucy Ricardo was so freaking snarky
all the time. So I guess my parents were like, oh, these are adults. Like once you get to adults,
fair.
This is how you act. But as a kid, but
wait, I love that. So have you ever seen Rugrats?
Nope. Or I think like I've caught in bits and clips of episodes too, but yeah.
Oh my God. So we have to change this podcast to Danny watches Rugrats.
And like see how it measures up, because now it's the opposite. Now instead of being a kid watching adults be sassy, now you're an adult watching kids be sassy. And now you get to experience like, okay, was this as much of a slippery slope into becoming a delinquent as your parents may have thought back in the day?
True. I also was the oldest, and it's like, the second my little sister came around, it was like, oh, you can watch anything and everything. But that's siblings.
I love that. So you speak, we obviously know Mom, and Mom is amazing and perfect, and we love her. So were there a lot of shows y'all watched, as a family, as a community, that you feel like you're still like that heartstring show?
Oh, yeah, I think like Andy Griffith.
Ooh.
Yeah, I Love Lucy, and then like Little Rascals, which I'm like, yeah, those kids were sassy kids.
They're quite literally called the Little Rascals.
Yeah. But I'm like thinking of it now. Maybe it's because it wasn't animated.
Fair.
But
so there was realism involved. Like, all right, well, Danny, make sure you don't run into that fence. You see what happened to Alfalfa.
Yep,
oh my God, no Darlas in your life.
Oh, Darla was the best. So
I don't think I never watched the original Little Rascals. I watched the 90s movie though, like on repeat.
There's two?
Did you never see the movie, Sasha?
What? Yeah, I've only watched the movie.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, well, it's a series.
Oh.
Yeah, it did just come out of nowhere. They were just like, let's throw a bunch of these podunk kids into a film.
That's what I thought this whole time.
Yeah. It's I remember the episode they went into like a haunted house and they were so scared. It was someone just like pranking these kids to try and get them to run out of the haunted house. But I remembered that as a kid, I wanted to do a haunted house so badly because of that episode.
Oh my God. Have you done them? How do you feel?
I love haunted houses.
Are you a horror movies person, Danny?
No, I can't do blood. Like I pass out when I see blood. And so like when y'all were talking Grey's Anatomy, I was like,
right.
I could never. So and it's fun though. Like my dad's a nurse, my mom's a nurse, my roommate's going to be a nurse. And so I'm happy other people can deal with blood.
That's interesting. So like you're all good for a haunted house until someone's like, oh, I got a paper cut. And you're like, oh, that's the most frightening thing that's in here.
I'm like, oh, okay. So.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I love that. So all of these shows I feel like are coming together and we're like really learning about you and honestly why you ended up on The Amazing Race. And growing up and even now, do you feel really excited or, to introduce someone to a show you were watching growing up? It could be, I Love Lucy. It could be Cyber Chase. But I'd love to hear more about now what you're like, this is what you need to be watching.
Okay, this is so funny. And it's scripted, but Total Drama Island.
Oh,
yes!
I don't know if that fits into things.
Oh, yes, it
does.
does.
And listen, it's
does.
a reality TV lampoon, but like I'd say Unreal is still a scripted show. You like just because it's about reality TV doesn't mean that it's not scripted.
So I have been going through and showing my roommate Total Drama Island, and we've been rewatching and then watching the new seasons. And I'm like, this is great. This is peak television. And if you need to learn unhealthy stereotypes of like reality television, this is just so funny. Like, it's so funny to go back and watch the original seasons and go, wow, y'all were so sexist on this show. And just like, it's just fascinating. Just like
Real Survivor.
Some of the early seasons. So, but that, and then the other one is like Scooby-Doo. Like this, they put Scooby-Doo on Netflix, all of the old Mystery Incorporated.
Whoa.
And I am like, if you as an adult need a like good show to go back and just watch and just like relive childhood, it's a good one to go back to.
Oh my God. Who was your favorite Scooby-Doo character? Or is?
Probably Daphne.
Oh, the hottie. Yes.
Here's the thing. I didn't like Fred because like he created the traps, but he was aloof. And like, I was like, no.
I like Fred. Was he like the prototypical himbo? I feel like I would say if Fred exists nowadays, but like there's so many Scooby-Doo adaptations that he does exist nowadays.
Yes.
And I do feel like he is just this like big guy who is in charge of the group, but is much more the mouthpiece than any actual implementation of said mystery solving.
Yeah. And Velma was like smart and like I loved the creativity and like the brain, but then when she lost her glasses, it was like
useless.
Velma. And like Scooby and Shaggy are fun, but I think Daphne like actually is smart in some of the Scooby-Doo stuff and is actually like coming up with plans. And then Fred's like, who cares, Daphne? And I'm like, actually, people don't give you as much credit as you should get.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah, that's like the most hipster answer to a Scooby-Doo question. Yes. Like, actually, if the real ones know that Daphne was the MVP of Mystery Inc.
Yeah.
Oh, I never thought of that because you know what? Now I'm realizing my internalized, sexism or whatever that may mean.
What a reckoning.
Yeah, I never, even gave Daphne I was like, yeah, you're really pretty and cute. And you and Fred are over there kind of doing your own thing. Poor Velma. But now you're right that she was kind of on the Goldilocks scale, she was the most in between of just right. Where once my girl lost her glasses, which very relatable as I feel like almost blind person, but it's just when no glasses, I'm done. You can't. It's contacts saved my life. But yeah, I never cared about Fred. Why was he just there to drive? We need a driver.
Oh, I was going to say that, yeah, I think I was going to say initially when Danny said that Daphne was his favorite, I'm like, oh, you picked, if you did a family feud of who's your favorite Mystery Incorporated member, that she would be 5 out of 5, but I'm pretty sure Fred is 5 out of 5, because I think Danny provided a very wholesome explanation. And I would imagine there's a fair amount of people out there on the internet as well that might put Daphne number 1 for very different reasons.
That purple dress. and the little...
The green.
Yes.
Well, now it makes sense as to why you love haunted houses, because like you have that Scooby-Doo meta of like, these are just people with masks on. They can't hurt you. They can't scare you. They're just trying to get access to the old mill or make sure that nobody visits the lake so it doesn't get demolished in favor of the mall.
Yeah. And I was a huge like Nancy Drew Hardy Boys like reader growing up. So I think that's just definitely like you look at the love of TV and I'm like, oh, I can see consistencies.
Yes.
Now Criminal Minds, too scary.
Really?
Terrifying. I'm like, So
yeah, so the closer it is to like the realm of true crime, maybe it's just even the thought of blood. Like, I don't know how much blood gets shed on Criminal Minds, but it's like, oh, there's a dead body involved. I don't want this. Let's just stick with people wearing sheets pretending to be ghosts.
Yeah, because I think once you've seen 1 or maybe 3 episodes of Scooby-Doo, you know the deal, that it's not real. Versus Criminal Minds, yeah, I feel like they show enough. So I'm with you, Danny. I feel like, all right, I get it. Or it's bad. But you'd always think these network TV shows are more toned down, but they're crazy. I don't know if you watch like Hawaii Five-0 or, well, not anymore, but all of those shows, I don't know. I felt like, how is this just on normal TV? Like, it's not behind any paywall per se.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that these shows are the bread and butter for a lot of networks. But the weird thing is that since I think everyone's societal sort of like standards for what is taboo in those worlds have kind of gone down, like, man, they do a lot of stuff on those shows nowadays that I think would have been reserved for basic cable back in like the 90s and 2000s. Hell, it was a big deal when frickin' Sipowicz showed his bare ass in NYPD Blue back in the late 90s. Now, they probably show butts like, I don't know, every 25 minutes on these procedurals just because they have the clearance to do so.
Dang.
Honestly, shout out Shamar Moore. That's who I would like to see.
That's like, all right, I'll watch it, but only if it's Shamar Moore's bare ass for every 30 minutes. Just do. That's
like
the
90s or early 2000s me. That was like, wow.
Like a little bit edgy watching television.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like our household. Like, cover your eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Channel. Yeah.
I love this. Oh my God.
Yeah. So is there anything, Danny, that you're watching currently as well? Because I imagine that sort of bridges into what you currently partake in. Obviously, we know you whet your appetite on reality television, but I would say, like, of the past like few years, what's the scripted TV that either from a current perspective or like binging up on shows that you've missed that you've tried to cram in there?
I have been trying to think. I have been like racking my brain to like figure out what have I like caught up on, what shows are like, and I thought of, so Invincible, it's a hero show. And I just watched that one, season 1 and season 2 recently. And it was fun. A little bit. So it's
I was gonna say, you don't like blood, like,
yeah.
I have felt like I have grown a little bit in the animated like area, like Squid Games. I had to close my eyes through almost all of it, but because there were games, I was like, I have to watch this show. But it was through the here. But Invincible was pretty good and very entertaining and like really fun. But I do also like any games. Like, I just am a sucker for games. And so like Alice in Wonderland or Alice in Borderland.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Yeah.
Alice in Borderland is great. I actually hosted a like Alice in Borderland themed game the other day.
Say more, please.
Ooh, yeah, tell us more.
Yeah.
Like the round. So I picked mini games and then turned them into games to like eliminate. So like, for example, the round where it's like, do you remember the round with like the jack and like one person is the jack and you have to kill people off, but like and played that format with just friends, and it was so fascinating. And the jack ended up winning, like convincing other people to like turn on each other. And I just put a sticky note each round on their back with like the symbol. It was really fun. So
I need you to send me this Google Doc so that I can do it for my
for the uninitiated, which is mainly me pointing at myself. No, because I've heard of the show. What's the pitch for why to watch it?
Ooh, yes, Daddy, please.
Oh, okay. Imagine all of your childhood games that you played as a kid, but now your life is on the line. Can you play tag and avoid being tagged? Otherwise, you're going to blow up. Yeah, that's important. Like, can you play hide and seek, ring around the rosy with like a deadly catch? But it's got actually really good plot, really good storyline behind all of it, and some crazy twists that you never would have seen coming.
Interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, I'll be frank, especially because this is also a Netflix show. When you start giving that elevator pitch, I'm like, yeah, I've watched Squid Games. So this came before Squid Game, though, right?
Yes, it did. And just so folks know, it's a science fiction. Okay, here's the difference. Alice in Borderland is a Japanese manga, right? I believe that they adapted. And what's really cool, and I think what sold me, I don't know about you, Danny, is I watched it after Squid Game because I was like, oh, more, I need more. Where you're in Tokyo, and all of a sudden, I forget how exactly, but they need to get a visa to get out of this dimension, but it's a abandoned Tokyo. So it's Japan. Like you're in the big city, but it's just you and the players somehow that you're in this like upside down.
Gotcha. But it like is it post-apocalyptic, or were they like transported to another dimension?
I don't know. You might have to watch the show.
Exactly.
Now you got me. You got me.
And that's, I think, the whole thing, at least for season 1, where we're like, where are we? I'm so confused because they end up like they're in Shibuya, and it's like, again, fully like you're at Shibuya Crossing, but there's no people. And that's the whole point of Shibuya Crossing, is like there's so many people there. And as, again, someone that's been there, it's crazy to then go to Japan after watching this show. So it's just, it feels so exciting, and it felt different because it was more, again, real, right? Like, or more science fiction, but it feels real because it's out in the city, versus Squid Game. I feel like is very much like, oh, it's just this thing happening. It's a production to kill people. But this felt very much like, but how did we get here?
And why are the lasers coming out of the sky zapping?
Yes.
The what?
The space lasers. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just the whole idea of it is what draws you in. And then end of season 1, right, when they finally figure out the visa situation and maybe how to get one, you're just like, what the hell?
So is there like a formal application process? Is bureaucracy also dead along with civilization in this movie?
It's kind of Lord of the Flies-esque, where bureaucracy starts to get created. So like small visa, like the idea is everybody has a playing card, like the 6 cards. That means you have 6 days to live. Unless you go and play a game, which is marked by a heart in the city. You have to go and play a heart game. And if you win the heart game, you get a new card, which extends your life. And so, but there's this idea of what happens when you get all the cards. So different factions start forming to try and acquire all of the playing cards. And
yeah, I forgot about the deck. Yes, that's what, and I think you get the deck, right? That allegedly. But listen, it's already on season 2, so you know.
So it's aired 2 seasons, right? And like, is a third happening?
I think the third is.
I'm pretty sure.
Alice in Borderland.
Yeah, develop.
Because you never know with Netflix. 3 is the magic number.
I know.
Right?
Yeah, season 3 coming. They wrapped filming in February 2024, and so they think it'll be this November or December.
Oh, my watch. Should be
not like Bridgerton, where it takes 7 years for one.
That's something I would imagine. Then it's 2025, right? Because they've already, again, I'm sure the comparisons. I'm not the only one to be the doll that compares to Squid Game, and Squid Game's already confirmed for December, and then I think the spring as well. So maybe they decide that after that wave kind of crests, they're like, and like Sasha said, oh, you might want to check out, do your own sort of like in-house algorithm. You may want to check out Alice in Borderlands.
Yeah, I think it's so different. I don't know how to explain it. Like, when we're explaining it, maybe you think it's like Squid Game, but then you watch it,
I think it's better than Squid Game.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh wow, that's a big claim.
Yeah. No, I so agree with you, because I don't know why.
Whoa.
Danny, don't you feel like you're more in, like when you're watching it, like you feel like you're in Japan or in Tokyo or wherever they are? As opposed to, I feel like Squid Game feels very much you're the gross, one with the mask watching.
The guards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from what it sounds like, obviously Squid Game, I think, is more so a thematic statement on like capitalism and what you would do for a life-changing amount of money. Whereas this is more so like survival at its core.
Yeah.
That maybe while they are trying to form a society, it's less so about like, oh, I need to do this so I can be the richest person in washed out Tokyo. No, I just need to survive an extra week.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's interesting because I think it plays on some of those societal needs of like, all right, what are you willing to do to survive? Slash, what does community look like in that? What does sacrifice look like in that? And it follows more, I think, than just one character.
Yeah.
It's like really fun to like see. Season 2 will jump between like a couple of the main characters. It's pretty good.
Interesting.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. Yeah, would recommend it for sure. Japan's just killing it. We talked Shogun, now we're talking this. Do not watch Shogun, Danny.
Yes, do not watch Shogun. Considering if you know what seppuku is, that is a heavy part of Shogun in many ways.
Lots of honor killing.
Lots of gore, lots of killing, both of yourself and of others. So definitely stay away from it if you can. But yeah, it is really interesting to sort of, I mean, let me ask you again, this is sort of like in the weird nebulous region between scripted and reality TV game shows. I mean, you mentioned Rough Ruffman. Do you watch game shows on a regular basis outside of, you know, how they exist within scripted shows?
Yeah, like I grew up on Price is Right. Like that is something that like just grew up on Let's Make a Deal, Deal or No Deal. I'm trying to think of like, Biggest Loser, like all of the like daytime shows and then evening shows, but then also like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Wheel of Fortune. I'm so bad at trivia, so I don't like watching Jeopardy because it makes me feel stupid, but it's awesome. So, but
what was your game of choice on Price is Right if you could be a contestant?
Well, he was, right? You were.
You were. I forgot about that. Yes, you were. You and your sister,
So I love, is it Angela on Big Brother right now?
Yes.
So Angela, it's so funny. Like they released her Price is Right clip, then they released her Deal or Let's Make a Deal clip. And I was like, that's my exact pipeline too. I was on Price is Right. Then I was on Let's Make a Deal.
Oh, I didn't know you were on Let's Make a Deal. Oh my God.
That video is hidden. I don't think people can find that video.
I mean, do you want to give us a little bit of a recap? What were your experiences like?
So I played for a car. I came down and I lost the car and I fell down to the ground and gave the dramatic, oh no, I just lost a car, went back to my seat, but they invited me back for the Losers Redemption special. And I did better on that one.
What were you dressed up as? What was the costume of choice?
The first one was a danger cone. So I was a giant traffic cone with like caution tape that was like caution zonks ahead, like full orange socks, spray painted shoes. Like you have to go.
I love this.
And I've always wondered with that because I'm much more of a Price is Right person than a Let's Make a Deal. I think the anxiety of Let's Make a Deal like seems like my nightmare of every minute of every day. I live in the headspace of you've made the wrong choice. So I just feel like presenting that to me as an actual choose this thing or this thing would just give me nightmares on it. But what's the process involved of choosing the costume versus when you know you're going on the show? Are they like walking through being like, I like that one. You get on now. You get to go down and compete for all this money or cars.
Yeah, it's similar to Price is Right. It's like they interview everybody in line. So it's like they interview all 300 people in line. The interviews are like 10, 15 seconds. And
10, 15 seconds?
Yeah, it's quick. It's like, hey, what's your name? Hey, where are you coming from? And if you can catch them in that 10, 15 seconds, maybe you'll get asked, what's your favorite game? Or like, why are you here today?
Wow.
If not, he just moves on. Or they. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
I knew after Price is Right, like I knew I killed my interview. And I was watching his assistant in the back to see when she was writing stuff down because they have secret symbols to like give to their production person to say like, hey. And so I was watching her like a hawk. And the second, I had my interview, I looked at her and I was like, yeah, I'm a be on. But Let's Make a Deal, I wasn't sure.
Wow, I love this. Did you say anything special or you're just yourself? Like it was really that 15 seconds?
I was crazy.
I love
yeah.
That's the thing is like you got to make that first impression, right? Like, it seems like this predates the social media dating world of like, if you have a great pick in an opening line, that's what's going to get you to swipe right or swipe left. So now it's like, all right, I have one shot to do something in 10 seconds that's going to let you notice me and hopefully have me win something that could change my life.
Yeah. And it's free. And it like, honestly, it's a great tip for people who are like working with like trying to get on other shows or want to experience casting. It's like, hey, this is your first 10, 15-second experience. It's awesome. Highly recommend.
Wow. How was Let's Make a Deal?
It was fun. Wayne Brady like, did such a good job of like interacting with the audience. I think he did a really good job. Like they were constantly interacting and it was fun and playful. And why the games, there's not much strategy to it. And it is luck. I felt like the fan experience and the interaction with the host was like a really positive and really cool experience.
So amazing. Wow.
So listen, not to pit former Who's Line co-stars against each other, but who had the more enjoyable host experience, Drew Carey or Wayne Brady?
Wayne Brady.
Wow. Danny's never taken a trip to Cleveland anytime soon after that slander against Drew Carey.
It was so funny. Nothing against Drew Carey, but when we were in the audience, there was a girl who was like talking about like college, and Drew Carey's like, drop out of school, college is worthless, in the audience. And I'm sitting there going, Drew, don't tell people to drop out of school. That's important. And so it was.
This is why you never saw the Rugrats. Yeah.
I love that as well, that it's like Bob Barker had Spay or New Your Pets. Drew Carey has like, yeah, school's worthless. Go to the School of Hard Knocks. You don't need a degree, it's just a piece of paper.
Oh my God. So funny. I'm obsessed with this.
Now, are there any game shows that you would like to be on after you sort of did like a trifecta of CBS shows? Obviously, Jeopardy is something you're leaving to the Drew Baseals, but are there some other ones, either new or old game shows that you would want to do?
I mean, I think as a lover of reality television, I would be happy. I like being on Big Brother, Survivor, Traitors, The Challenge. Like, I think The Challenge US, I think I would do well on but who knows? I don't know if they're bringing that back. But I think any idea where you can compete at a high level or like challenge yourself and do something that's just completely different is awesome. Like The Mole, love The Mole. Like
that's what I would want to do. I agree.
That was like the first show that I had ever made it far in a casting process and was pretty close to being on season 1. And so, it's like cool how like God closed doors and then opened doors. An Amazing Race, incredible experience, but it would have been interesting.
Would you do Family Feud alongside your family?
Yes and no. So we have a very dynamic family. Like I love my family to death.
Yeah.
Like mom and dad, and then I have 3 younger siblings. And
That's
a team right there.
Oh, 100%. But I think I'm terrified about what some of them would say. And I think I'm only confident in one of their abilities in the final round with me. And
that's hard.
That's interesting.
So
what about you, Sasha? Would you ever do either with like your in-laws or your own family, do a Family Feud?
See, I am an immigrant, but like at least I moved here when I was 14. So, I have enough. And I just feel like I have enough American life experience versus my family. My mom moved here at 45. Like there's no way. Like they're going to be like, name 5 celebrities that you would see, with the Kardashians. And my mom would be like, who's the Kardashians?
Yeah, but then I get a great reaction out of Steve Harvey. And there you go. That's the reason why you get cast.
See, I play to win, so there's no way. I got to just make up a family. I got to be adopted into someone else's. I don't know. I'll be a great plus
so
one.
You can join the Butlers.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I feel like I am good at like pop culture trivia. So I was on my college pop culture team. So
it does feel like, I don't know, are game shows back? Maybe it's just because I feel like I hear more about them, about like The Floor, The Quiz with Balls, I think is one of them. I mean, a lot of these just sound made up, but indeed they exist, mostly on Fox.
And GSN. Yeah. Like Lingo and
Lingo coming back with, well, that's the thing, is that like to watch Wordle become so popular when it's like, isn't this just lingo? Like, I was watching this 20 years ago.
Yep.
I love this. Oh my gosh. Ugh, I can't wait for the Bloom family to show up on Family.
Yeah, well, wait until when Asher gets old enough, we will put him on there with like Steve Harvey's head in a jar or whatever he looks like in 15 years at this point. Just a floating mustache in a tank.
Do you think Lori Harvey becomes the next host?
That's a good question as to like what gets passed down. I mean, even something like Millionaire, right? Like it was in prime time. It went away and it was hosted like in syndication by Meredith Vieira and some other random people. Now it's back with Jimmy Kimmel doing it in prime time with celebrities. It's just a sign that everything old is new again. That like with enough time away, people will miss a property enough that it's like absence makes the heart grow fonder. Sure, I want to see this back. I'll watch Lingo again.
Oh my god. No, I'm a sucker for these shows. I think I could do well on the floor. Like, and then I say that and then I'll get the one question I have no idea.
What would your subject of expertise be on the floor?
Oh, of course, like like celebrity names. I think I would kill it.
Celebrity? Is that a topic? Celebrity?
They were like, guess them by their eyebrows. I knew every single one. So I could do it. This is what I do. Jobless. I mean, I have a job, but like it's jobless behavior. I love it.
What about you, Danny? Is there like a specialized topic that you feel like you could be an expert on in this type of game show?
Yeah.
Board games. Oh yeah. In any sort of childhood game, any game. Like, yeah, I think all the nerdy ones, I think I do pretty well on. I actually, one of my buddies is on season 2 and he won't say anything about it, but I'm like, I think you did well, but I don't know. So we'll see. They said it was an incredible experience, so we'll see.
I wonder what the process was like for that, because I imagine it wasn't waiting in line and people said in 10 seconds, tell me why you should be on. Like, I imagine there was more of a formal application process.
That's what it sounded like, is that there's casting and then they have you send in different topics and yeah.
Oh my God, that's so cool. That's my dream, is again to be on like not the big 3. Well, no, I want to be on The Amazing Race, but outside of that, I don't care about any of the others. Like I want to be on these like silly, fun shows because I want to go play a game. I don't like anything else that comes with it is just too much. I just want to go play the game.
So I was almost on Wipeout with my brother, but I said no because I thought that it would put my chances of being on one of the big 3 in jeopardy, because that was the time I was applying. And I was like, oh, let me just toss out a Wipeout application. They're like, oh, can you do it? And I was like, oh, okay. But then I was like, oh, actually, no.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense on paper. And then you hear that Mariah from Survivor did Wipeout like 5 years ago.
Awesome. So
but it's that she can't jump. A girl, be serious.
Yeah, I'm always intrigued by that as well, because I would imagine initially when you said I said no, I'm like, oh yeah, it's because you don't want to wind up in like a full body cast.
That's what I was thinking too.
Because I would imagine like, yes, you're bouncing off of rubbery things, but like you're still hitting the water at terminal velocity.
That's true.
Oh
Mariah killed it, so we laughed about it. So she did good.
So good. Oh,
would
you want to do it now?
Oh yeah. Like now it's like, okay, I'll do anything. Like except I would want to do it to push myself, but Fear Factor, I don't think I could do it because I can't eat gross things.
And that's the thing as well, is I feel like, to the point I made earlier, that's like the one property that they have kept trying to bring back that didn't work. Do you remember? I'm pretty sure it was hosted by Ludacris on MTV like
it was
5 years ago or something.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, Luda hosted Fear Factor on MTV. I remember because they had a whole reality episode where it was like, I think might have been Rachel.
Yeah. Okay, yes. Now I remember. I just don't remember.
And Beast Mode Cowboy and Zach Rance were a team.
Yep.
Oh yeah, here it is. Oh my God. I remember watching Fear Factor in India. I'm not joking, with Joe Rogan.
Good old
that was on in India. And then I was just like, what am I watching? But so good. obsessed with it. It was ridiculous. And India, I think, did a version of it. So just outraged.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you know? Because it feels so innately American, right? Of like, do stupid things, win big prizes. Were you understanding that even from India?
Well, yeah, and granted, we used to be in America like every other year. Basically, we were coming to visit my aunt, so I probably caught it, like picked it up in here, and then I was like, "Oh, does it come on in India? It does. Cool." But I was on like MTV show in India, so I think that's why. One of these like random TV shows with my best friend. I like skipped school and went for the.
Wait, you never? I don't think you've ever told this story. What was this?
I skipped school. I grew up in Mumbai, which is like LA, right? So there's always gonna be someone that knows someone, right? So it was one of those situations where one of my school friends was like, "Hey, I need like a few girls," and my mom is like casting for this TV show called MTV Select, where it was this really cool DJ, and he used to, he used to be like, "Here are all the things I'm selecting that are cool," basically. So yeah, literally, it was just him.
The power this man had.
Yeah, literally, it was just like him and his Riz. So they were doing like a Friendships Day special where you and your best friend would compete against another pair of best friends. And my friend and I got selected, even though we weren't even like really great friends. We were like sports rivals at school, but we were like, well, we got to do this. So like, let's lie. Who cares? And then now we're friends, and she moved to America too. It's very weird, but but yeah, we got on MTV Select. They like on a random like Wednesday. I didn't tell my mom, and then the next day I was like, "So, Mom, I got selected to go on a TV show," and she said, "What?"
Yeah. I was gonna say this wasn't like the classic sitcom trope where you didn't say anything and then like she's turning on MTV Selects one day and sees you on it.
No, because the next day we had to fully miss like the full day because it was a full day of shooting for MTV.
Wow, you're an MTV star, Sasha.
Yeah, it was so funny. And we won too. We had to play little like friendship, whatever games, and we won.
Wait, what do you mean little friendship games? What does that mean?
Like, whatever, these like random games that they might play on like a TRL or something like that. Okay. It was like, yeah, in studio games.
This is like where your pop culture knowledge really started paying off for you.
Exactly.
Well, what did you win?
We won like a whole like gift bag full of MTV stuff.
That's awesome.
It's like I think 7th grade or something. Like we were young.
Oh my God. So you were just like, do you remember what the MTV swag was? Like, did you make use of it or did it just take up
No,
space?
It was like nonsense, plastic. Let's be real. But the fact that I won mattered way more.
You're a winner.
Than anything else. Exactly. Winners win. Okay. Like again, growing up in Mumbai, I feel like everyone just kind of has always been on some TV show. I've been on a few more, but that's like the funniest one I think I've been on.
That's awesome.
Wow. I mean, I did not realize that I was talking with two people that have racked up sizable amounts of television credits.
Danny is the one we're like begging for Danny and Angie to come back. I said, when's the next Amazing Race shooting? I will personally fly them out.
Well, why don't you, Sasha, you can now make an easy pitch of like, listen, me and this person, we didn't get along well in high school, but we persevered together. This is why we should be on The Amazing Race.
Imagine. No, girl teams can't win, guys, please.
Certain international seasons would say differently.
Listen, let's be honest. 2 short girls are just not gonna. No.
Certain international shows
exactly. They could bring back the team hashtags. It could be hashtag Team Short Queens, like
Team Fun Size.
Even if you lose, you'll win the internet stand.
See, this is why I would never go with my husband. Like, I don't know, Danny, if you have certain people you'd never go on with, but I feel like I would be like the funny person, and then immediately if I go with like my husband or someone, it's immediately this is the most hated person in America.
That is fun.
We're both only children, so you can only imagine.
It'd be great TV.
Yes. But
I'm intrigued, Danny. If they were to make a movie or a TV show scripted of your time on The Amazing Race, who would you cast as yourself?
Oh, I feel like Sheldon is like a decent, like for that era of my life. Like I look at like I have a completely people don't recognize me in public at all because it's very different than how I did on the show.
I know you got the facial hair going on.
Mhm.
Yep, and have gained a lot of weight, like, and started doing something called working out, which I should have done on the show so that I could have carried the rocking horses down the hill. But I was like, oh, I just need to train running. That's all The Amazing Races. But I definitely would catch Sheldon. I think nerdy, kind of socially unaware sometimes, like
That's all you're
Smart,
smart, like
prepared.
and like supportive of his friends and like really caring to like other people. So I think that's who I would cast as me. As mom.
Yeah. Who would you cast as your mom? I think is the more operative question.
Oh, I do not know celebrities at all.
That's
but
okay. This is where Sasha's floor expertise comes in.
Period.
True. Who are like some good? I'm like trying to think of like some good like kind of like fierce moms who are like no nonsense. Like, hey, we're doing this.
The thing is, Sheldon's mom is a great person. Like, I would pick young Sheldon's mom.
To grab the two from young Sheldon and put them on The Amazing Race.
Because young Sheldon's mom, because we get more character development on that show.
They really make a deep dive into Big Bang extended universe on young Sheldon.
When I tell y'all, I watched the spoiler alert, right, final episode of Young Sheldon, tears. Just could not handle it. It was terrible. But yeah, young Sheldon's mom, the way she's able to handle different personalities and keep him calm and turn him, like as it turn the brain on, right? Like to be like, Sheldon, Shelly, I need this. Come on. That's why I enjoyed that. But again, she's more than I feel like just a mom. That's why I feel like we have to find someone like just perfect.
I think like Tom Holland's aunt in Spider-Man.
Oh, like Marissa Tomei. Marissa Tomei could be interesting.
Yeah, that's what exactly. I love
a good one, or like Sandra Bullock in The Blind Side. I feel like it's really good, like care, empathy, but also has like emotional moments, but like just wants what's best for her son.
Yeah, imagine Sandra Bullock in that racing outfit, just like splayed out on the ground, dramatic pan over her as water's being poured over her body.
Oh,
moments.
I know. Every time Angie's doing a task, I was like, Danny, why didn't you do?
Yeah, me too.
Right, I know. But no, y'all do it, so it's not. You can't even say it. It's out on a technicality. I will not talk about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say
let's move on, guys, because I'm gonna fight.
It's okay. Me and my my girlfriend are rewatching the season for the first time.
Wow.
And so we're watching episode 7 tonight. And so we've got one more episode till the dreaded incidents.
And does she know anything about like what happened?
All she knows is we go out in a controversial way.
Okay. Interesting. Well, I think when she finds out, she's like, oh, you didn't do anything controversial. Great. Like, it wasn't like, because I feel like when you just say it like that, she's like, what did he say on national television that's going to get him kicked off the show?
Yeah. So it's pretty fun.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. Would there be any show that you watched growing up? We already talked about a few, or, Alice in Borderland, I don't know, but that you would want to, be or play a character.
Oh. I feel like Scooby-Doo would be a blast.
Yes.
But I'd want to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Like I kind of want like the villain vibes. I'm like, I got the stash. Time to be a villain. Time to set up some traps, put on a mask, and then get caught by
honestly King.
Group of kids.
Well, I guess that's the thing. Yeah, it's like you're going in with the expectation that you'll get like, and as long as it's cartoon logic, where maybe to the point of you not being able to see these shows as a kid, you won't get hurt, because like I feel like the traps they set up, like they have people getting thrown into cement walls or like getting hung up by their ankles. Like these usually older men get put through considerable bodily harm just for the sake of getting caught out by these teenagers.
Yeah, that is true. But I always like NCIS, or like, do they just grab random people who are like, hey, you're going to be a bad guy for one episode?
Yeah, it's a weird thing as someone who came from that world for a little while, but obviously was not typecast in those roles. No, I much more so fit in the young Sheldon mold, I'll say. Yeah, it's like certainly. Listen, I think acting does always come with a bit of an ego to it, considering the amount of rejection you face on a consistent basis. But I gotta imagine there is something weird to being like, yeah, you have the look of a predator. You have that consistent look of someone that if I just looked at you, I knew you were going to do something evil. And obviously, makeup and costuming can do a lot behind that. But I don't know. You got at least the first couple of times it has to happen. You have to be at least a little low key insulted of like, why am I getting cast as the pedophile all the time?
Oh my gosh, I'm dead. No, see, the thing is, especially after Mindy rebooted Velma, I did not watch it because, again, it's just weird self-hating. Like herself and her culture stuff seeps into Velma, and it's like, girl, get a grip, therapy. But outside of that, it's just, I feel like that is such an underrated show that I don't think about it enough. Like, what a great answer. I love this.
All right. Well, Danny, is there anything else you want to talk about? Is there any shows on your mind that you're wishing you could watch that's like plugging up your queue right now that you've always wanted to get into, but you've never had the time or resources to do so?
There's a show called The Chosen, which is my mom loves the show, and she really, really wants me to watch. But it's kind of like, it's just like a modern day version of biblical stories. And I'm like, this is fascinating, like turning it into a television show. And so it's on my list to check out. But,
wow, it's just run 4 seasons.
So,
there's a Christmas special. I would imagine what that's about.
And so that'll be interesting because it's on the CW. And
it's on the CW, really?
Yeah. And so I've heard lots of things about it, but haven't had an opportunity to like actually go and watch it.
That's fascinating. Yeah, I didn't know about this. I'm literally looking it up.
No, I know. I'm like looking at some of the things, but I know they had they showed it in the movie theaters, like the finale,
oh wow.
I think it's on Netflix now, but seems kind of like the action-packed stories of the Bible, which I'm like,
yeah, I was gonna say if it's the CW, then I imagine it's like hunky leads.
Oh, okay. Talking CW, one more show.
Oh,
I was a Riverdale dude.
Okay,
that's
the conversation's continuing now.
Yes.
We gotta get into this.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I have not watched the last couple episodes of the last season, but that's been a trip and a half. Like that is up and down and all over. And is this a murder mystery? Is this a whodunit? Is this a cult, devil, demonic? What is this show? Is this
why not all
alternate universes? Like, what am I watching this season?
Oh my God! Wait, I love favorite character.
Oh.
Oh, that's hard. I really like Veronica.
Ooh, yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah. Veronica is probably just because, yeah, Betty and Archie, I was like, you're the I don't know. It just was interesting. And Veronica, I felt like, okay, she had a plan. She was strong and she is sure, pretty strategic, pretty I'm like, you would do good on Survivor.
Yeah.
Was she the one who eventually owns the speakeasy diner?
Yep. Owns it all, very business savvy.
Yeah. Listen, Nepo baby, I feel like, that's her dad is doing it all. So she's just learning everything. Even when so I was a big Archie's comic book reader, obsessed. So even then I was like, but this Veronica girl, why are y'all dogging her? Because she's literally the coolest.
Agreed. I felt she got a bad rap in season 1. She didn't deserve it.
Yeah, I was like, Archie deserves all the smoke. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right, now we're gonna have to do maybe a sequel of because I've watched an episode of Riverdale, and so we might have to do another edition of describe very stupid, nonsensical plot lines to me, because I've heard quite a few on
Yes.
Riverdale. But in the meantime, Danny, this was such an awesome time. Thank you for opening up
Yes.
about your TV past, present, including some of your other TV experiences, and maybe future. Maybe we'll see you on Wipeout on the horizon. Who's to say? But before you start bouncing off of balls, anything you want to plug right now for the listeners out there?
I guess you can follow me on Instagram at dbutts. I host little live reality games in San Diego all the time. And so if you ever want to play in one, had people fly out from New York, Canada. It was pretty fun. Just did a Genius game. And so if you're ever just looking for like a fun time and meeting some new friends, reach out.
Yeah. So how long ago did you do the Alice in Borderlands one? Was that part of all this?
The Alice in Borderland was a New Year's Eve party.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
because I also host annual New Year's Eve parties. That's why. And that's why I was going to use it.
Collab needs to happen.
Period.
I think so. All right. Well, Sasha, anything that you would like to plug going on in your neck of the woods?
Yes, of course. As always, if you're wanting to know why something's trending, more info on these celebrities, you need to check out Mess Magnets, where Kirsten McKennis and I are talking all things gossip. All right. And this week, we're going to be talking the secret lives of Mormon wives.
Oh.
We're going to Mom Talk, baby. So if you want to know more about these swingers, allegedly, and how they're going crazy, you need to check it out. Check out Mess Magnets. And of course, Chappelle and I are wrapping up Below Deck Med. So check that out on the Rob Has a Podcast YouTube channel for the video, or the Below Deck or Hap-Ups feed if you want to listen. One of the cast members just tweeted us that she enjoyed the episode. So I think this is a good one. So you should check out this week's episode. Yeah, and for everything else, just follow me on Twitter at funsize_04. What about you, Mike?
Well, first off, what's the pitch for Secret Lives of Mormon Wives? Because it is sort of like taking over the internet over the past week, but like, is it Housewives adjacent? That's what confuses me.
So they're the breadwinners. That's the joke. So they are all Mormons, but they most of them showcase themselves as hey, we're like modern Mormons, we're trying to showcase our faith in a positive way, but in a different light, maybe not necessarily what you think about. That's the like positive. And then the negative, and why we're all watching the show, is that they're said breadwinners, but their husbands who are being helped are kind of jerks. And one of them, Ben Affleck's second cousin, is truly the worst of them all.
Ben Affleck's second cousin? Yeah. What's he doing here?
He's in there. And guess what her name is? Well, the wife's name is Jennifer Affleck.
Oh.
I'm not joking. And she is 24, bankrolling the Affleck's second cousin. And guess what, guys? He says, you need to step away from Mom Talk. She's paying for him to go to BYU med school on her TikTok check. And he's like, you can't be doing this. This isn't. And I was like, and why is she paying for it, you ask? Yeah. He gambled his money that his dad, a surgeon, gave him for med school.
Wow. How do you like them?
A lot of self-righteous, but they actually shouldn't be, because they're not people of faith, and or they're not acting, in the same way that people of faith maybe act. So that's what's exciting, is like the hypocrisy. So
wow. All right. So definitely gonna have to check out the whole deep dive.
And it's 8 episodes. It's not like outrageous or anything.
Wow. Yeah. So definitely have to check out at least the deep dive that the two of you are doing on Mess Magnets. As for me, if you're a reality TV lover, you know what's on the horizon. Survivor 47. I got you covered in the preseason with all the stuff I'm doing. Also covering Big Brother. Also covering the challenge back to the scripted side. Josh Wigler and I continuing to go through our podcast for first watchers of Lost, getting to season 4, which was a writer's strike stopped short season of the show, but still that's maybe one of the best episodes of television in the past 20 years in it. So check that all out, especially if you're a first-time watcher of the show. But regardless, Sasha and I will be back next week with another reality star talking scripted TV. Thank you all so much for listening. Danny, thank you so much for coming on and chatting.
Thanks so much, y'all.
Such a great time. We'll be back next week with more TV for Real. But until next time, everybody, it's been real.